I'll be discussing about the topic globalization in India. Let's get to know the introductory aspect of globalization in India. It is a process that encompasses the causes, courses, and consequences of transnational and transcultural integration of human and non human activities. India had the distinction of being the world's largest economy at the beginning of the Christian era, as it accounted for about 32.9% share of world GDP and about 70% of the world's population. The goods produced in India had been exported to far off destinations across the world. The concept of globalization is hardly new to India. India currently accounts 2.7% of the world trade, from 1.2% in 2006, according to the WTO. Until the liberalization of 1991, India was largely and intentionally isolated from the world markets to protect its fledgling economy and to achieve self reliance. Foreign trade was subject to import tariffs, export taxes, and quantitative restrictions, while foreign direct investment was restricted by upper limit equity participation, restrictions on technology transfer, export obligations, and government approvals. These approvals were needed for nearly 60% of the new foreign direct investments in industrial sector. The restrictions ensure that FDI averaged only around $200 million annually between 1985 and 1991. A large percentage of the capital flows consisted of foreign aid, commercial borrowing, and deposits of non resident Indians. India's exports were stagnant for the first 15 years after independence due to the predominance of tea, jute, and cotton manufacturers, demand for which was generally inelastic. Imports in the same period consisted predominantly of machinery, equipment, and raw materials due to nascent industrialization. Since liberalization, the value of India's international trade has become more broad based and has risen year to year. India's economy has grown drastically since it integrated into the global economy in 1991. It has a drastic impact on India's economical condition. Its average annual rate has grown from 3.5% to 7.7%. The rate peaked at 9.5%. Jobs in the technology and business sectors have many benefits. GDP is increasing year on year. FDI in India has reached 2% of GDP. As India's largest economy in the world in public private participation, India is a preferred destination for FDI. India has strengths in information technology and other significant areas such as auto components, chemicals, apparels, pharmaceuticals, and jewelry. Despite a surge in foreign investments, rigid foreign direct investment policies resulted in a significant block or hindrance. However, due to some positive economic reforms aimed at re regulating the economy and stimulating foreign investment, India has positioned itself as one of the front runners of the rapidly growing Asia Pacific region. India has a large pool of skilled managerial and technical expertise. The size of the middle class population stands at 50 million and represents a growing consumer market. Globalization and investments. Let's discuss few more points. India has a large pool of skilled managerial and technical expertise. A critical factor in determining India's continued economic growth and realizing the potential to be an economic superpower is going to depend on how the government can create incentives for FDI flows. In September 2012, the government approved 51% FDI in multi brand retails, despite a large pressure from coalition parties. In 2019, the government allowed 100% FDI in coal mining. According to the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, foreign direct investments equity flows in India to reach around US dollar 72.12 billion US dollars in 2020-21 until January 21, while the cumulative FDI equity inflows to the country from April 2000 to 21 reached 545 billion US dollars. India's real gross domestic product at current prices stood at rupees 195.86 lakh as per second advance estimates for 2021. Simultaneously, the per capita income at current prices was estimated at rupees 1,27,768, approximately 1,765 US dollars in financial year 2021. India's overall exports from April 2020 to February 2021 were estimated at 439.64 billion US dollars. Overall imports from April 2020 to February 2021 were estimated to 447 US dollars, billion US dollars. As of 2021 March 10th, the foreign portfolio investment inflows into equities stood at $36 billion. The private equity venture capital sector recorded investments around 47.6 billion across 921 deals in 2020. This growth was mainly attributed to fundraising by Geo platforms and Reliance Retail. In 2020, merger and acquisition activities increased by 33%. To enhance funding for infrastructure and real estate, the Finance Bill proposed amendments under the Budget 2021-2022 to allow foreign portfolio investors to participate in debt financing and emerging investment vehicles. Globalization and culture. IT industry. The integration of technology in India has transformed jobs which required specialized skills and lacked decision making skills to extensively define jobs with higher accountability that require new skills such as numerical, analytical, communication, and interactive skills. As a result of this, more job opportunities are created for people. Technology has also influenced many firms to give their workers more freedom in the workplace. For instance, workers who perform non routine tasks benefit more than workers who do not. Agriculture. Although India had immense economic growth, not all sectors of the economy have benefited. The funds that should have been directed to the agriculture sector were directed to private sector enterprises. For instance, growth in the agriculture sector dropped from 3.8% to 2.6% in 2008. This decline in growth has greatly affected farmers because production costs are high while commodity costs are low. Women. Technology has also increased access to education in India, especially to women. This has decreased the gap between men and women, which was created by stratified gender roles. It has also empowered women in two ways. Technology has influenced more women to pursue advanced degrees in computer science and engineering instead of their traditional degrees in social sciences and the humanities. This has resulted in an increase in the number of women in competitive professions. Globalization expanded the need for higher education for both men and women. This in turn has had a tremendous impact on the life of the single women in India. Education. India has also promoted higher education through the propagation of universities. However, funding to elementary schools has declined. 63 million children aged in the group of 6 to 14 are out of school due to reduced education budget. The Indian government has invested a lot in promoting higher education in the country, but more progress could be made with the help of private interests. The private sector has more than enough financial power to increase the literacy rate and access to higher education. It can be done through private universities and learning centers. Also, global universities might be established in India to a global perspective can be fixed into the curriculum. Four aspects of global education that universities in India might focus on are a global curriculum, global faculty, global degrees, and global interaction. These aspects would not only help promote higher education but would help prepare India for growing global competition that globalization is creating. Globalization and culture. Further, let's discuss about health. India has one of the lowest ratios of public to private health expenditure. The infant mortality rate for the richest 20% of the population is only 38%, 38 per thousand live births, while the rate for the poorest is 20% is 97 per thousand live births. Also, the rate of epidemics among the poor is increasing. It is common for outbreaks of contagious diseases like HIV, AIDS, and malaria and COVID. Thank you.